Okay, so I've arrived at my Abseil site and I've done my little site selection and a quick scan to see if anything's changed since I've been here last. And now I'm going to start rigging my anchor. I guess there's a couple of things that are specific to this site, and that is that there is a drop on my left and over on my right. So when I make my edge safety lanyard to access the ledge and do the rest of my rigging, I'm actually going to do it off one of these center bolts here so I can't fall off either side. So the first thing I want to do is flake my rope, running it through my hands and just checking the rope. So that's part of our kind of safety inspection that we need to be doing every time we're handling a rope. Obviously we look at these ropes when we take them out of the gear shed in the morning, but it's important that I'm doing this as well. So I'm going to tie a figure 8 on the bight in the end of the rope, and this end of the rope is going to become my edge restraint. I'm just going to throw it over towards the edge. And then I like to pull it about 1/2 metre back from the edge itself, and that ensures that when I'm clipped into it that I can't fall over the edge. I'm going to clip this into this bolt here. And I'm just going to fix it at this point with a clove hitch, because that gives me some adjustability. Clove hitch is tight, edge restraint's in place for when I need to do more rigging. I can start to work on my primary anchor now. I'm just going to put a figure 8 on the bight here, and I'm going to leave an isolation loop, and that gives me the ability to adjust that clove hitch when I want to potentially adjust the length of my lanyard there that I've made. So figure 8 on the bight. And I'm just going to put this into a separate carabiner and pop it underneath. I'm pretty happy at this stage, it's not too crowded here. If I was to add a third carabiner there, I think that'd be getting crowded. I can attach the other end of my anchor into this bolt over here. And at the moment, I haven't been going near the edge, so I don't really need to be clipped in. So I'm kind of using that general rule of thumb, which is 2 body lengths back from the edge, and I'm happy working at this point without being clipped in. I'm just going to save a carabiner here and tie straight into this ring bolt. Obviously that's not appropriate to tie straight into one of those fixed hangers because it has a sharp edge. So re-threaded figure 8. This can definitely just be clipped in with a carabiner, but given that I want to save the amount of carabiners that I'm using, I can just tie that one in. Okay, now at this point I'm going to start moving closer to the edge. So I'm going to clip myself in and perform some quick safety checks just to make sure that I'm ready to go to the edge. Okay, so that carabiner's done up, that one's done up, that's tied in, and I'm done up here. I'm happy that I can walk to the edge. I'm going to take both arms of the anchor with me. I'll just move this stuff out of the way. Now at this stage I'm happy that this edge restraint is only into one bolt, because it is exactly that, it's just an edge restraint. So at no time should I be able to put my full body weight on this or fall over the edge. Because I pulled it 1/2 metre back to start with, it's the right length. One bolt's more than strong enough to restrain me from going over the edge, and later on this is going to become the access rope for my clients approaching the edge. If I decide at that point that I want to shorten it, I've got the ability to do so through the clove hitch. So I go back to equalising my anchor here. Got excess rope I'm going to put in the middle. I've got my 2 anchor arms here, and going to make my master point. There's two ways to make this master point. One is to tie one big knot in both strands. So I'll demonstrate that. So a big figure 8 here, in both strands. I'm thinking about having all strands nice and tight there and neat. And I'm also thinking about where I want the abseil rope positioned over the edge. So here I can see this nice groove where I want the abseil rope to run. So I'm pointing the master point of my abseil rig at that groove, or this groove here, just to make sure that that's where my ropes are going to run. In terms of the angles in my anchor, I don't want them so small that the anchor has no stability whatsoever, and I don't want them really large to the point that I get load multiplication, which you can clarify with your instructors what all that means. Got the back end of the rope here, I can neaten it up. Just before I do so, I'll quickly talk about the other way to equalize my master point. And essentially that's just by having the two independent sides like this. Just figure out where I want them both, like so, and then I just tie two independent figure 8s. And I can do that whilst holding the other rope. And just trying to be neat while I go, so that my knots are easy to identify when I'm doing my safety checks. So two different ways to equalize. I do have a lot of excess rope here in the middle, so I'm just going to neaten it up and stack it away so it can't become confused in the system.